Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today I'm going to be running some T2 solo exotic abyss in a frigate. Namely, it's the Hawk. The Hawk is a Caldari assault frigate that specializes in shield boosting and missiles. So we're going to go in and do it straight away. So this Hawk is it's pretty good and it's actually very popular in the frigate abyss. The Retribution has a lot of advantages, however, over the Hawk. The Retribution can achieve a lot higher DPS quite easily, and it can also vary the range. So for example, now I can't equip a short range high DPS ammo. I've just basically locked to one ammo type. Really, it's the Scourge Rage. Or I could you can see here Scourge Rage. I don't really, there's no point in having Caldari Navy the longer range on, because the Scourge Rage already has really high range or long range, and it's so the DPS is a bit low on the low end, at least in the close quarters. However, it has got a lot better DPS in the long range. So there are many waves in the frigate abyss that you have to kite. For example, the sleeper cruisers, you can't just face tank them straight away like that. Then you can actually quite easily do that and still apply better DPS than the Retribution, because your DPS is the same all the time. And then and you've still got pretty good range of the light missiles, because the total it becomes 226. But the Retribution can have a radio M or standard or radio S and a standard S. Those can do, I think it's a little bit less than 200 DPS, and the range is less than these light missiles. Also, something that I really like about the Hawk is that it has the nature of missiles involves that they basically don't care at all about tracking. So when I'm kiting, the only thing I think about is me avoiding damage so that I can survive. I don't have to think about tracking, because the thing is, with light beam lasers the Retribution uses, then you often have to think about tracking. So you have to sometimes position yourself, otherwise you'll miss shots. Here you'll basically never miss shots. You only have to make sure that you're within the max flight range, and that's it. And you're almost always going to apply max damage, and it's a really tiny frigate going really fast, but your light missiles should apply pretty well all the time. But I would still say that the Retribution is better, because the Retribution it does EM damage. This only has bonuses to kinetic missiles, so this will then be kind of locked to the exotic sites, or maybe even dark sites if you want to do them, because dark sites are very favorable for missile-based ships, because the optimal range of turrets is reduced, so it's very easy to kite stuff. But you're gonna have a bit of issues with time, because you not have any reduced resistance like in the exotic particle storm, where you have reduced kinetic resistance. And that's why I'm doing it right now, because I'm doing kinetic damage. Kinetic damage is obviously going to be more efficient, because this Twillet Abyssal Overmind's kinetic resistance is now reduced because of this weather effect right here, and I'll be essentially applying more damage. However, you've got the Retribution then that mainly does EM damage, and the thing is, with if you're doing EM damage, you'll then do the electrical sites, and the electrical sites are quite a bit easier to run than the exotic sites if you're doing the right damage, like the EM damage, because in the electrical sites you have bonus to your capacitor, so your capacitor recharges faster, and that's a lot more like how it has in the Abyss in general. Is you have a weather effect that makes it so that you have a reduced resistance usually, and then you have also some secondary effect. So here you get 50% scan resolution bonus. That honestly is one of the most useless bonuses I've ever seen. But in the electrical sites, you on the other hand get a 50% more faster recharging capacitor, and that's very useful, because that makes it so that you can tank a lot more, because you can add more tank modules and power them sufficiently enough with due time. This wave right here, the Bethnic, or not the Bethnic, the Twillet Abyssal Overmind, is a good example of a wave that's pretty difficult for the Hawk, because it's one of the highest HP spawns, and it's also it's going to then make it so that it takes a long time, and if you are if you do not have good skills, then you'll take too long and you'll eventually die to this timer right here. But I'm doing this on Tranquility. I'm not doing this in Tessa, because I just like to I wanted to just do a little bit of variation in my frigate abyss running. Usually I would use a Retribution. Now I'm using the Hawk for the time being, but I mean, I switch back and forward between those two ships. The ship, and also another con for the Hawk is that it is quite expensive because the shield booster is quite expensive. To achieve a reasonable tank, you probably would need to use a blinged out shield booster, and the shield booster is quite expensive, costs 120 mil. Everything else is pretty cheap though. You can see here 200 mil full fit, but it's not as cheap as the retribution fit I use. The retribution fit I use costs like 90-80 mil. That's a lot cheaper than this, and it in fact is actually more tanky. The retribution is more tanky, and that has a lot to do with the there's a smashing shot right there. It has a lot to do with the electrical side, because I'm able to put a dual reps on the retribution. Actually, I can actually bring up the retribution fit right here. This one here, I'm able to use this because you can see here minus 13 gigajoules per second, but since we're using electrical sites, we're going to have enough capacitor to pull through. That's one very big advantage of the retribution. Any EM damage based ship has often quite easy time doing Abyss because they're able to run electrical Abyss, and electrical Abyss is quite easy to tank a lot. That's a very good thing about those sites, and it's also something you'll notice is why those abyssal filaments tend to go for quite a lot. You'll notice that the chaotic electricals go for maybe like I think it was 17 mil the last time I checked, and you'll notice maybe like firestorms, or they'll go for I think like just maybe 1 mil or something, but a lot less. And let's see what's the time here. So we've got 6 minutes there. That's not a particularly good time, but you actually will notice the exotic abyss does have a tachyon storm. No, this is also something you have to think about. Tachyon storms are very dangerous because they can make you just fly out into the abyssal depths. The exotic filaments are also quite expensive because there are a lot of good ships that use kinetic damage, such as the Hawk. The Hawk is a pretty powerful ship, and I could use it even better shield boost if I want to get a lot more tank, but I'm not doing that. Also the Gila, the very popular abyssal running ship, has bonuses to kinetic missiles, so it's very favorable. Firestorm filaments, they have reduced thermal resistance, and the Gila has also reduced thermal or increased thermal missile damage, but the thing is it's not as popular because of the increased armor HP of the enemies, makes so that the sight takes a bit longer to do. Kikimoras, I've heard that a lot of people have been having troubles with the Kikimoras. Has a lot to do with them just doing quite a bit of damage and quite a good range. They have a bit bigger range than the Vedmax, I think, and that's pretty deadly as well. Combined with their small turrets, they're going to apply very, very precisely. So it's pretty deadly. But it seems like I'm kiting these guys like a boss right here. I haven't actually done a whole lot of testing with the Hawk, so there's always like a little possibility that I could, just randomly explode and die. I've mainly done a lot of testing with the Retribution. I think that's that I've been using that a lot more. It's this Hawk was just one I bought just because I just felt like doing a bit of variation of Abyss running. Okay, we've almost finished the site right here. Let's go and shoot a light missile in the bioconverter of cash. Not so good loot actually. I got only 2.3 mil from that last site, or that last room. I've actually today run by accident a calm exotic filament because the T1 ones, I didn't mean to do it, but I ran it in this worm and I got 13 mil from the whole room, and that was pretty good because that's what you'll sometimes get from a whole T2 room. Grab this, only 2 mil. Crap loot, what's going on? Let's go to the transfer conduit. Transfer conduit and wreck this Dynamic first, real quick. Kill this Dynamic. It was good that we finished that that Abyssal Overmind just over to 6 minutes, or 6 minutes and 10 seconds, because if it was 6 minutes and a little bit more, then if you multiply it by 3, that'll be more than 20 minutes and we'll maybe die. It's just always something you have to consider. I've got 225 DPS, you can see that. Oh no, Tachyon Cloud, be careful. It's like a whole new element, these Tachyon Clouds. I've never really had to experience worrying about speed. But I could always increase the DPS more by taking a Pyrodancio drug, the drug that increases your DPS. That would have helped a little bit. And I could also maybe use some implants. I've not got any implants right now. This is the clone I'm using for this Frigate Abyss, has no implants because I don't want to worry about using an expensive implant set with with the Frigate Abyss, because the Frigate Abyss is always a lot more explosive than the Cruiser Abyss. You can just get from nowhere, you can just make one small mistake and you can die. That's just one characteristic of the Frigate Abyss. It's high pay because of the 3 times multiplier on your Abyss loot, but it's also very, very risky because of the wrecking shots and in general just small piloting errors with how fast and tiny and nimble these ships are and how flimsy they are, because they got very little HP compared to cruisers, make mistakes a lot more punishing. And let's see if we can navigate around this Deviant Automata Suppressor, because I'm now reduced to my DPS is being a bit reduced from those from this Deviant Automata Suppressor. It's just shooting down missiles like a little scrub. Let's get a bit closer. Maybe we can get a little bit closer. I have actually a pretty good tank against Triglavians because I've got very high thermal resistance. Not so much explosive resistance though. That could be a bit higher, but I have pretty damn good thermal resistance, and that's one of the major things that Triglavians do. You can see here, not really taking much damage at all, to be honest. Let's turn off the... I'm a bit worried about going through this Tachyon cloud now. Okay, actually I'm gonna have to go through it because I don't really have much of an option right now. Stop. Yes, stop. Good. I stopped at just the right time. The Deviant Automata Suppressors makes it so I cannot do any damage basically to these guys. It's really annoying. Look, I've just been shooting for the last 1 minute and not any damage. That's also a very big con on using these missile-based ships. The Deviant Automata Suppressors can be big trouble if you have a, for example, a battleship just AFKing near a Deviant Automata Suppressor. That could be big problems. However, I have noticed that you could actually make if I feel like I've not got any like direct evidence to prove this, but I feel like if you're very close to a ship, then there's a higher chance that they hit or do not get affected by the Deviant Automata Suppressor. And that would also make a bit of sense because of how the point defense needs to like, if there's a very little travel time for the missiles, then it's more likely they're just going to hit straight away. Okay, let's go and or get hit by the Deviant Automata Suppressor. I mean, now we're doing a bit of damage. That's a lot of damage. Okay, let's slow down a bit. Always have to be a bit careful in the Tachyon storm. Or Tachyon, what's it called? Tachyon cloud, yeah. Only 1 kick more, so it's not really many. We can just face tank this. Oh, 6 mil, okay, that's good. It's like, these are pathetic numbers compared to T5 Abyss. T5 Abyss is just where it's at. You know, there's always T6 Abyss, but to be honest, you have to, in EVE Online, you've always got this thing, okay? You've got to do the risk and the reward. The risk of T6s really is just too much for what you can get from it, because it's not really that possible to consistently do it with maximum or at least I'm not aware of a way to consistently do T6s with maximum like piloting, paying attention, unless you go like officer of it, which I'm not interested in because that's just too expensive. But the increased payout does not seem to be worth it, and I get so much ISK from the T5s that I'm pretty much happy with that. I don't have much need on getting a whole lot more ISK from that. It already feels a bit dirtily high amount of ISK from the T5, so I'm pretty happy right there. Alright, that's T2 Agitated Exotic Abyss done by the Hawk. Went pretty smoothly. That Overmind, Abyssal Overmind went pretty slow, but otherwise pretty much a walk in the park. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.